big vision, but we have many allies working very closely now with Secretary of Agriculture of the state, A.G. Kawamura, and we're working with members of all the major organizations in the state of California, from Western Growers, Farm Bureau, Cattlemen, to many of the kind of traditional sustainable agricultural organizations. And we're finding that there's a great convergence emerging around the future of California food systems. Now, there are certain huge issues still, but there is a convergence emerging, and that's what we're focused on. And we do our work by providing grants, fellowships, contracts to organizations that are collaborating on something called California's Campaign for New Mainstream in Food, Farms, and Fisheries, which is available on the website, our website, and it gives you a real specific idea of what we're planning. We have until 2030. Our kind of statute that underlies this organization focuses on working until 2030, and then hopefully we're going to disband. In that document, the first 5 years are very clear, and we're going to be actually beginning work on the second 5-year plan now. But we have clear outcomes for 2030, we have clear outcomes for 2012, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. But the essence, and the reason I'm telling you all this is because I think it's important to understand our strategy, because there are many places for government, local, state, and even federal government to plug in and participate in what we're doing and work in the shared resources that are going on. So we have many businesses working with us. We have actually a group of noted business leaders from the state of California in the food sector and agriculture sector who are part of something called the Business Council. We have labor leaders, we have all kinds of people. So the business community is well represented and advising what we're doing. Government, obviously, I've mentioned CDFA, California Department of Food and Agriculture, Resources Department, Health, Education, Trade and Commerce. All these different departments have been engaged and to different degrees are involved in what we're doing, particularly as University of California. Federal agencies, we're working closely with USDA, HHS, EPA, and participating in several of our activities. And Trade and Commerce, we've been trying to, they're actually not part of it yet, but we're trying to get them involved. Foundations, NGOs, there's a huge amount. I won't go into all of them, but there are many organizations up and down the state who are involved in different aspects of what we're doing. And then there are currently 12 foundations who are the primary funders of what we're doing. And there's a list right there. So basically, our approach is to develop this network that has a shared strategy, and then to distribute the different kind of objectives within that strategy, and then work with all of our partners to provide federal, state, private monies to do work. And the private monies, I mean both foundations and individual contributions. Our budget this year is will be about $2 million, and the goal is to be to about $5 million a year in investments by the year 2012. We're not a large body as an institution that has roots of change as a staff and a set of consultants with only 14 people, but we have over 1,000 people in the state who are in our database who are working with us in different ways. So what is the issue that we're really focused on? This is kind of the problem statement that we use. That is that the old agricultural system that was the underpinning and the secret to success in California has been disintegrating as global competition has arisen, as the urbanization of the state has taken place and made it more and more difficult to compete in the market. So, and also the fact that we are increasingly urbanized for the first time in world history this year. The UN estimates that there are more people living in urban centers than in rural places. That's a huge, it's a fundamental change in the world that needs to be noted and is impacting many things. So you can see one of the outcomes of that is that we have mass public ignorance about what agriculture really is and what it requires in order to maintain its viability. We have epidemics of food-related illness related to production systems and other things that are going on. We have labor force vanishing, to great environment issues, and of course the big issue is loss of producers due to economic challenges. And I was reviewing the statistics for the last several years here in Mendocino County, and we see that loss of farms. There are some positive things I'll be talking about later. But just to give you a snapshot of what we're doing, we have 3 core strategies. One is to build this network. Our goal is to get to 40,000 people by the year 2012. We expect within the next 3 months to be about 5,000 in the database, people committed to the strategy. We're building long-term funding base, federal, state, and foundation, private funds. We're on track for that, hitting our goals. And then we're using the monies we're raising grants, and as I mentioned, all different ways that we provide money to different partners. But also we're linking private capital. We've been working with several groups of capitalists from around the United States and the state who are interested in investing in agriculture through funds. And it's a patient capital approach. That is, they're not venture capitalists, but people who understand that agriculture takes longer to pay back and has lower returns than some of the investments they're used to making in the technology world. So it's an interesting group of people. We have three levers of change that we're working on. One that really relates to the network, the idea of leadership. It's really important that we get a lot more leaders involved in this, not just from the agricultural sector, but from cities and other areas, from businesses who can become allies to agriculture in this important struggle to maintain the agricultural base in the state. And then we're very interested in the development of value chains, and what those are basically traditional supply chains of a product from a farm all the way to the end user, the consumer, either through a restaurant, a feeding institution, or their own homes. But with the idea of injecting values or sustainability principles into those supply chains, so they're called value chains. There's a lot of work developing around this concept right now, both